Hello again, it's Deborah from the attic. I'm back today with another subscription box from Your Creative Studio. This is the box for February. I'm just having a little quick flip through of the book in which I store all of my ideas when using Your Creative Studio vintage products. This is a great way of also showing you that although these come out at different months and they have different themes to them, sometimes it's flowers, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's travel, because these are all vintage, curated, sort of period vintage boxes, you can use these all together. So it doesn't matter what season, what month you get your box, they will all work beautifully together. Now, I will post links below this video where you can find out all about subscribing to 1 or 3 of the boxes from Your Creative Studio. All of the information will be found below. And when I get to the next spare page, this is where we're going to start. But I'm going to pop that to one side because to begin with, I am going to show you the contents of the box. I'm going to go through this fairly swiftly. I'm going to put on a little bit of background music as well for some company, and then join me back after I've gone through this unboxing to see 5 different page layouts that you can do in your journals. I won't be adding anything to this other than maybe scissors, maybe some glue and maybe an ink pad, because I think it's really helpful if I show you what you can make just using the contents of this box. You don't have to add anything else to it other than very, very basic craft supplies. So I won't be doing anything sort of fancy pants with dyes that you don't have and that sort of thing. So it will just be using the contents of this box. Let's dive in. This little card always clues you in to what you might be getting in the box. There are lots of nice little botanicals on the front of this card, so let's see if that gives us a clue. I'm going to just talk you through our first collage on this page because The great thing about doing collage like this is that there's no rules, and these layouts that I do in my book here are all just ways of demonstrating how you can use the papers. So for example, here I've created a pocket. I can slip things into this pocket. Of course, you can add all sorts of embellishments if you have them. You can ink around the edges, you can splatter them with white paint, you can put gouache over the top of these pages. I don't do any of that because I want to show you what you can do just using the contents of the subscription box. But I thought it'd be useful just to talk through the first one, and then the next four I'll just put them together and you'll see them with a little bit of music underneath, just for a little bit company, because sometimes it's really obvious what I'm doing and I don't need to explain it, but I will explain this first one. I've chosen various papers from the kit. This one that I managed to rip when I was opening the packaging. This sheet, which came from the Bill collection pad. I've chosen one of these little faux cards and a number, one of these papers, which I thought was really lovely, very beautiful papers, and then two of the purple flowers. And these I've chosen because they will sit nicely on this paper and they will match with this. The only rule I give myself when I'm doing my collage is I do like to have colour balance, so I won't throw a whole load of different things at it because I think it confuses the eye, and my eye is very easily confused. The other thing that I'm not scared of when I'm doing collage is white space. So you can actually position your collage any way you want it, and it can fill the page or it can just fill one tiny little corner. And in the four that I do after this one, I'll show you different samples of how to do that. Let's begin with this page. Now I'm going to layer it up something like this. And can you see what I mean about colour balance? So I've got a lighter beige here, I've got a light beige on the top here, and then these two colours complement each other. Not exactly the same, but they're very, very close. And then my little flowers from the packet will match in nicely with that. And then I've got my my 3, and I'm going to use my number as a sort of a highlight somewhere on this page. But what I want to do is add some different texture by ripping this page. Yeah, quite like that. So that is going to go down first, and I like the way that the ripped effect sort of stretches it out into this white patch here. This one I won't rip, I'll just leave it as is. This one I want to overlap so it's slightly over the top of this one, because it can look quite dull if you just have everything sort of running in the same sequence. So if it ran like that, that's not really very interesting, whereas if I do a little bit of this sideways, a little bit of an angle on that, and if I drag this down almost to the bottom of the page, then that gives us lots of variation at the bottom of this page. And I quite like the way that these ends, these corners all cluster in this little patch here. To finish the look, I'm going to bring in my little card, a slightly different angle, probably about there, and I'm going to have my pansy about there, and then this piece I want the 3 to be like a little highlight, and I want my little tiny flower to have some kind of a relationship with both this purple flower and the number there. So I might have to fiddle around with that a little bit. But that's the gist of my page. Now if you were doing this for a journal, you could just glue down the 3 edges of this large piece so that in here became a little tuck spot. You could do exactly the same with this piece. You could glue it around the 3 edges and then just have in here as a little tuck spot. And when I'm making my journals, I find that's quite nice. I like rediscovering things. It's a bit like going on a treasure hunt when you can't remember exactly where all the little pockets are, and that can be quite good fun. So bear that in mind if you're making this for a journal. And what I do in this book is I gather ideas. This is sort of like my If I'm looking for an idea for a journal that I'm making, I will flip through this and it will give me ideas for layouts. And even though I don't use exactly the same papers, it doesn't really matter. It's the principle of this design is what I would be copying. So I'm going to glue all of this down, and if some things switch, if you find that they look a wee bit different at the end, it's because I've had a further play. Those then are our 5-page layouts in a collage style using Your Creative Studio's February subscription box for 2023. I hope that by watching these layouts you'll be encouraged to try your own. As you can see, there aren't really any rules. My rules are I start with a larger piece at the back to sort of anchor my design onto the page. And then I gradually use smaller pieces so that I put the tiny little pieces on top. And you can build up your design in the centre of the page or in any of the corners or down the side. And I've tried to show you a variety of those as well. And then I like to try and have a focal point. And in this final one, as you saw, I took these 4 pieces, glued them together, and they are together the focal point. And then just to anchor everything onto the page and to repeat this blue theme, I used one of the rather pretty parchment stickers just to pull everything together by adding it in this bottom corner. When I'm layering up my pieces, I try not to have them matching and all hitting a certain line. I like there to be lots of variation and things poking out of the centre. I hope you found that useful. I hope that if you haven't already, you will subscribe in order to catch all the future subscription boxes that I show using Your Creative Studio. If you enjoyed this one, do go back and have a look at some of my previous videos. I'm also going to provide a link up here in the top corner for anybody who has not yet booked for the doodling holiday that is taking place this September in the south of France. Fully catered, it includes all of your accommodation, all of your workshops. It takes place in one of the most picturesque areas of the southwest of France. We will visit chateaux and markets and other beautiful little villages that cling to the cliffs before walking alongside river beaches and taking picnics and being inspired by what we see to produce little doodles. Go and have a look at my website, and there you will find all of the details for booking for that and more information and a full itinerary. So in the meantime, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time as always. Thank you for watching. Do go and check out Your Creative Studio. All of the links will be below this video. And until we meet again, stay safe and take care.